By the way, I never died in this version.
Cave diving, an activity that most of us probably wouldn't do, because who in their right mind thinks this is fun? However, imagine going on a cave exploring expedition and you encounter something dangerous, even fatal. Well, that's what we're about to find out in today's movie, The Descent, released in 2005, over 20 years ago. Isn't that something? You're old. Hush. It has been a very long time since I've watched this movie, and I couldn't tell you anything I remember from it. But since I've been seeing it recommended every now and then, I figured I'd revisit it. I don't feel like this movie really gets talked about anywhere, at least as far as mainstream horror movies go. So sit back, huddle up, and let's take a look at this 2005 cult classic, shall we? Let's get into it. We start off with a group of women having the time of their lives water rafting. Yeah, cause you know, not doing this was never an option. Actually, let me give it a spin, without the raft. Yeah, that'll get you some new subscribers, a joke about offing yourself less than 2 minutes into the video. Anyway, there also seems to be a little girl off to the side cheering them on with a man. She screams mommy at them, so I'm assuming this is one of the women's daughter. Speaking of which, their names are Sarah, Juno, and Beth. At first I thought something was about to go terribly wrong, but they make it down safely. This also definitely seems like something appropriate to be doing in front of your daughter.
Go on, pull Fisher out.
Oh, they're British, are they? Oh god, not again. The little one is Jessica, Sarah is her mother, and the man is her father Paul, also husband to Sarah. And as I mentioned earlier, the other girls are Juno and Beth. Off rip, I think Paul is having an affair with Juno. The way Beth is looking at them, and the way Juno looks at Paul and how quick he is to skedaddle away, I don't know, something fishy is going on here, and it's not the river. They head in the car and start to drive home. And Paul doesn't look too happy. I mean, maybe there's something missing in their relationship. I'm sure they can work it out, and he's dead. He's dead? We're not even 5 minutes into the movie. If this was a Jungle Mist video, somebody would be getting a point. So we cut to Jessica blowing out her birthday candles. I remember earlier Sarah had mentioned her birthday was coming up and they were going to plan her party. Is it me, or does this little girl look completely different than the one we just saw? Or maybe I'm tweaking. I'm probably tweaking. Sarah awakens from the hospital and immediately unhooks herself from all the machines she's connected to, and she leaves. Who the f does this? I'm pretty sure that was IVs and shit. You can't be disconnecting things so willy-nilly. You could damage a vein or nerve or something. Can you tell I don't know what I'm talking about? She leaves her room and calls out for Jessica's name. Reasonable, they were just in a car crash and that is her daughter. No mention of Paul's name though, and he for sure is super dead. Jessica has a possibility of still being alive. A good majority of those pipes went through Paul, and my man's is not a Mario brother. He didn't stand a chance. The lights in the hallway behind her start going out rapidly, and she takes this as a sign to leave, so she starts running. This might be a dream because it seems dreamy. Also has this ugly green filter on it like when they filmed The Ring. She runs into someone, and I guess that was an hallucination, not a dream. It turns out to be Beth, who embraces her in a hug. And if things couldn't get any worse, Jessica's dead too. Damn, this movie is starting off on a dark note. This lady lost her entire family in a matter of 6 minutes. We didn't even get a chance to get more than 3 scenes with these characters before they got Vlad the Impaled. Beth holds Sarah as she breaks down in the middle of the hospital hallway. Other people can now be seen behind them. It's a heartbreaking scene. You'd think since we didn't really get attached to the family that it wouldn't be as sad, but I don't know. Something about a woman breaking down on her best friend's shoulder because her husband and daughter are now dead. I mean, it's kind of hard not to feel something, and it makes me feel slightly bad about the Vlad the Impaler joke, but not bad enough that I'm cutting it from the video. This is a comedy channel. Damn! I mean, yeah, I get it, they don't know her, but sheesh. It's just a regular work day for these two. Juno is also in the background crying. I'll give her some grace since the little girl is dead, but don't think I don't still suspect you of f***ing this woman's husband. Well, now dead husband. Title card. Ooh, fancy. Appalachian Mountains. Oh, is that where the scares take place? This makes so much sense now. I want to go there so bad. If I ever do, you bet your ass I'm doing a spooky vlog and posting it on the channel. It's now 1 year later, and you can tell Sarah has been going through it. See, this is how someone is supposed to act after 1 year of their loved one being dead, Billy. Grieving has no expiration date. Point blank period. Always welcome when the sign of the place you're going to has bullet holes in it. Beth isn't really too keen on why they're out here, and neither is Sarah really, but she's also not eager enough to shoot Juno down, who I guess this was her idea. They pull up to a cabin of sorts, and Juno greets them. She helps them with their bags and they head inside. We meet 2 more characters, Rebecca and Sam. Damn, we got a full ensemble. Rebecca and Sam are also sisters. They all hug, and Sarah thanks Sam for the letter she sent her when Paul and Jessica died, which Juno rudely interrupts this conversation. Maybe it's an attempt to not have Sarah's mind on what happened last year, but still, at least let the girl thank her. We meet yet another character, Holly, looking like a missing Jonas sister.
I've heard about you. You're that mentalist that jumps off buildings.
I can't say what I want because James will yell at me. You're damn right I will. Stop being depressed. Ugh, you sound like my mother. I honestly couldn't imagine being in the position of friends who have to console their bestie because her husband and daughter are dead. It's an almost impossible task. They cheers to their future adventure and the sun sets. Holly's smoking a cigarette outside with Sam as they're talking about their activities for tomorrow. Holly doesn't seem too impressed. She says what they're doing is more for tourists and it's not a real adventure. Living life on the the edge, huh, Holly? Well, get ready, because I think you'll get exactly what you want soon enough. Juno comes out and they put their cig out. All of the girls are having a little hangout sesh when Beth walks out in her pajamas and they all burst out laughing. I, for one, think it's cute. However, I'm sure they have an old lady joke because they've been calling her old for being close to her 30s. I feel you, Beth. Nothing has changed in modern day. That night, Sarah can't sleep, so she gets up to look out the window. She hears giggling, which sounds like a little girl giggling. I'm assuming Jessica's, when a metal rod impales her through the head and she jolts awake. Man, these dreams are crazy. The next morning, Juno is going around everyone's cabin, waking them up. Gotta love how we all know we were supposed to be up super early, yet we decided to drink our asses off last night. And now we have hangovers. Beth and Juno are playing rock, paper, scissors to see who gets to drive, but Sarah grabs the keys, interrupting their arguing, saying she'll drive. They all take a group photo, and I love how happy everyone looks. It's so precious. Nothing but death and misery follows after this.
Sarah, slow down a bit.
I'm having fun.
I was just about to say, why are they driving like this? Sarah, especially, were you not in a car accident that killed your family a year ago? They make it to their destination and they hike upwards. Juno had already scoped out the land so they know where to go. We get a crow jump scare, that's always fun. Gotta love crows, the epitome of bad omens when it comes to horror movies. Turns out they were munching on the carcass of a dead animal. Unless these are ravens. I know both birds do this, but I can never tell the difference off rip. Since this is a horror movie, I just assumed they were crows. Holly is eager to snap some photos while everyone else is a little grossed out. They keep moving and they finally make it to the entrance of the cave.
I'm an English teacher, not fucking Tomb Raider.
Don't know what I was expecting, but it definitely wasn't a Tomb Raider reference. Plus 1 point for surprising Greaves. Everyone's not too enthused to be going into the cave this way, but Holly takes this as an opportunity to slide down like she's on a firefighter pole, which pisses Juno off and she tells her to stop fooling around and do things safely. Everyone else makes it down and they all take in the scenery. It is quite beautiful until the most fake looking group of bats swarm Sarah and fly away. It's 2005, so I'll give them some grace. Still did not age the best. And that looks even worse. Oh shit, we're going cave diving for real. Why do people find this fun? I can think of 50 other things to do besides this. Being a football player, or a king, or a spaceman.
Or a football-playing king in space with a mustache.
Anyway, once they get down there, they light some flares to illuminate the area. While Sarah is looking around, she hears giggling in the distance. Jessica's giggling? Precisely. But she's dead. Precisely. Is the only thing you can say precisely? Precisely. She goes to check it out because why the hell would my dead daughter be down here in a cave I've never been to? And we get yet another jump scare, but this time it's Juno. She tells Sarah they're about to eat, so they head off. Juno and Sarah have a bit of a moment while eating. Juno apologizing to Sarah that she didn't stick around longer after the accident. Could it have been a sense of guilt, maybe? Sarah walks off to clear her head and maybe find a path forward. Holly asks what's wrong with her because no one felt the need to inform her that this entire trip was for their friend whose entire family is dead, and Juno just writes it off and says Sarah is fine, which she is not. Anyway, Sarah is traversing the rocky landscape of a PS1 game and finds an actual path. She alerts the girls, but when they get there, Rebecca is hesitant. She says this pathway is not really what she imagined from reading the book. Juno says you shouldn't always trust books and that it's fine. Sarah asks if something is wrong, but they both say no. Holly takes lead to scope it out, and this path looks slimy. Ew. But it doesn't stop Holly from moving forward. While everyone is making their way through, Sarah ends up getting stuck, which I saw a scene like this coming from a mile away. But shout out to Beth, who's a real one, and turns around to give her some words of encouragement. She grabs her to pull her forward, and the cave starts to cave. Beth is able to pull her through before she gets crushed. They all do a wellness check to make sure everyone's okay. Rebecca says there's 3 ways out of this cave and that was only one of them. She asks Juno to confirm, but Juno says she didn't bring the book because there will be no point. Why would there be no point? James, you want to answer that? Because this is the wrong fucking cave. That's right. Juno brought them to an entirely different unexplored cave system. So let me get this straight. You brought all of your friends into an unexplored cave system that doesn't even have a name yet and didn't account for any type of mishaps? So if anything happens to you guys, no one will know you're down here. Juno says this is what they do. If there's no risk, what's the point? Juno, you do realize this entire trip was to make Sarah feel better, right? You know, Sarah, whose husband and daughter are dead? This is not about the thrill. It was about doing something nice for your friend to get her mind off things.
We all trusted you. You told me this was going to be good for Sarah. Have you any idea what she's been through? No, because you couldn't get away fast enough, you selfish cow.
We all lost something in that crash.
Are you talking about Paul, Sarah's husband? The one you were allegedly sleeping with because I haven't confirmed that yet? Is that what you're talking about? Juno? This is like when they asked the cast of Victorious who the best singer was and everyone said Ariana. And then you get the Victoria Justice meme, I think we all sing pretty well. And they dragged her for like 10 years straight. I don't know where I was going with that point. It just reminded me of that. Fucking top tier commentary right here on the Greaves channel. They have no choice but to move forward, so that's what they do. Sam makes it to the front of the group, but as she's about to step forward, Juno tells her to freeze. As the camera zooms out and we realize there's no more ground to walk on. All right, Juno, good job. This changes nothing. Even worse, this is what the path forward looks like. Great. This scene, among other others gave me so much anxiety. This would be a great time to have a rope bag. Unfortunately, they lost it when the cave collapsed, which you could be mad now, but it was either the bag or Sarah. That should be an easy decision. So one person is gonna have to cross and hook up the rope, and the last person will have to undo everything the first person did. Rebecca is first. This entire scene had my butt cheeks clenched tighter than Arthur's fist. Yeah, thanks for that vivid imagery. Rebecca does make it across though. Guys, be glad we won't ever get into a situation like this because I have no upper body strength. I really need to start lifting weights again. Everyone else crosses and Juno is last to go. Well, when Juno goes across, she tries her best to do the same as Rebecca did, but she ends up falling. Luckily, she's okay, but not without Rebecca suffering from serious rope burn. Ew and ouch. Now, Juno says this equipment is at least 100 years old, which means there's a lesser chance of them getting the hell out of here. Sam bandages up Rebecca and they keep moving. They notice something on the ceiling and it turns out to be cave paintings. Beth tells Juno to light up a flare so they can see it clearly. The girls don't understand what they're supposed to be looking at. Beth says that this is the mountain, the cave, and the two entrances, meaning there's another way to get out of here. Their likely chance of finding it? I mean, yeah, they could probably figure it out, but something tells me they're gonna have a few obstacles. Like that. Ew. No idea what this is, but I bet James' left foot it isn't friendly. The fuck? They keep moving until they don't know which way to go, so Juno takes Holly's lighter and places it in various pathways. She does this to see if there's a breeze, signifying airflow. If there's airflow, that's active ventilation from air currents coming from outside. Now, she does find one, and you know, it's been a minute since my blood pressure has risen in a video. I've noticed I've gotten a lot calmer and more softer with my delivery, so let's fix that. Once Juno finds a tunnel with airflow, Holly jumps into it with no hesitation and just books it. She ends up seeing daylight from the outside and thinks they found a way out. Juno's screaming after her that that's not daylight, but she's not listening because she's so eager to get out of here. She slips and Juno grabs her last minute, but she's not able to hold on because one, Juno is only using one arm, and two, I don't know if you knew this, but water makes things very slippery. So Holly ends up falling and breaking her leg. Oh, so much fun. Holly, you dumb motherfucker. Let's go over some things, shall we? Number one, why would you haul ass through a cave system none of us are familiar with that we've never been to before not knowing what's ahead of you? Number two, where the fuck were the girls? Juno is holding on to Holly for a good minute. Once Juno called back for them the first time, they should have ran full speed to help. Holly ends up falling and now here they come. A little too late. She could have died. Thanks for the help, guys. What would I do without you here? These next couple of scenes are so gross. Guys, if you should know anything about me, I cannot, I repeat, not do broken bones. Like at all. Weirdly enough, this phobia spawned from the first Scary Movie. There's a scene when Shannon Elizabeth's character breaks her leg on purpose to mock the killer. And ever since I saw that scene as a kid, I have hated anything to do with dislocation, shattering, or breaks. Especially when the bone is poking out or doing the zigzag. It grosses me the fuck out. You know you're a horror channel, right? Shut up before I have you sleep on the roof again. They successfully push the bone back in and bandage her up. While Sarah is looking at her really old climbing helmet, she hears something off in the distance. As she shines her light around, it lands on someone. Well, this doesn't inherently mean he's dangerous. Maybe he's just thirsty. Last time I checked, that's not a crime. It takes it a second to realize this bright ass light is flashing on it, but once it notices, it scurries away. Juno goes to check on her and Sarah tries to explain that she saw someone, which Juno writes off thinking Sarah may be hallucinating or is off her meds, which we saw her taking earlier in the cabin. She tries to plead her case to everybody, but Rebecca puts an end to the arguing and says the only thing they should be worried about is getting out of here. I agree. See, what Holly saw earlier was phosphorus in the rock, not actual daylight. You would have known that if your dumbass stopped for a second when Juno was telling you to slow down, dumbass. Her and Juno are my two least favorite people in this group. Jesus. They make it to an open cavern, but there's stuff all over the ground. They turn on the night vision on Holly's camera and it's the bones of dead animals. Hundreds of dead animals. Which means whatever's down here has one hell of an appetite. Juno lights the lighter again and there is no breeze, meaning any tunnel in this place could be an exit. They won't know unless they look. They start to scream out for help and then we see this lovely individual behind Beth. They all scream and it bolts away. So not only are these things carnivores, they also move at inhuman speeds. Oh yeah, you'll notice I said they. There's multiple. They all start running around, sounds coming from all different directions. We get a jump scare from one of these things, causing Juno to fall backwards. Holly tries to make it away, but that leg isn't letting her go too far. One of those things jumps over her head and proceeds to take a big bite out of her neck. Juno goes to see if she's okay, and then it comes back out from the shadows to attack her. It wants to drag Holly's body back into wherever, and we can safely assume it will consume her. Meanwhile, with Beth and Sarah, Sarah is booking it and Beth is right behind her. However, she ends up falling into some water. Sarah runs too far and she falls down into a hole, hitting her head, her headlamp breaking in the process. And for some reason, Beth decides to head back where Juno is. Keep that in mind. Gotta give it to Juno though, she ends up getting a good hit on this guy. However, he calls for backup and another one tackles Juno. Holly's body being dragged off into God knows where. R.I.P. Holly, you were kind of annoying and hot-headed and just did whatever you wanted without thinking about you or anyone else's safety. But hey, you're dead now, so I'll let bygones be bygones. Juno wrestles with this thing for a good minute until finally landing some fatal blows on it. And oh boy, you thought I was angry before? Wait till you see this. So Juno is feeling herself. Adrenaline at an all-time high, senses are heightened. She's on edge. She hears something behind her and she assumes it's another ghoul. She turns around in instant kill mode and stabs Beth Beth through the neck. That's right, you heard me correctly. Juno accidentally murders her best friend. I had to pause. I had to take a second. Let me tell you, I remember nothing of this movie. I haven't seen it in years. I just knew it was about a group of girls who go into a cave and get hunted by some cannibals. Was not expecting this of all things. The look of terror on Juno's face is gut-wrenching. But let's cut Juno the tiniest bit of slack. Beth, why did you make no noise coming behind her? Like, you made noise as far as Juno hearing your footsteps, but why did you not yell or say some words? Maybe like, hey Juno, it's me Beth, your best friend, right behind you. Yet you said absolutely nothing and now you have a climbing axe through your neck. R.I.P. Beth, and fuck this movie. I actually liked Beth. Maybe that was the point. Kill off one of the likable characters. Yet Juno's hoe ass is still alive and she's the reason we're in this mess. It breaks my heart even more when Beth reaches out for Juno. She slowly backs away in pure shock of what she did. Yes, it was an accident, but that makes it even sadder. The scene fades to black and it goes to Rebecca and Sam. Rebecca pulls some glow sticks out of her bag to illuminate the area. They continue to move forward while one of those things is up on the ceiling doing the Batman. We then get a scene with Sarah facing the opposite direction as the camera zooms in on the back of her head. We get a jump scare as she turns around and becomes one of those mutated humans, or crawlers I believe they're called. She wakes up in complete darkness as her headlamp is broken. She grabs the camera to use the night vision to see where she is, and there's bones everywhere along with some dead animals. She hears a noise in the distance and goes to hide back in one of the corners. Suddenly Holly's body comes plopping down as some other crawlers approach her, sniffing the area as they begin ripping her flesh off with their mouths. Poor Holly, Jesus. I mean, I know she was kind of annoying, but she doesn't deserve this. Sarah shakes in fear as she listens to them ripping apart a girl she just met less than 24 hours ago. Back with Sam and Rebecca, who are still traversing the cave system, they hear crawlers off in the distance. Rebecca climbs onto a ledge as Sam does the same. She holds her baby sister as they hide in fear. It cuts back to Sarah, and man, are they feasting on Holly. Looks like me on a Thanksgiving, or James with a bowl of nachos. Hey, I'll have you know I eat my nachos perfectly normal. That is not eating. What you did to those nachos was pure chaos. Sarah opens her eyes to see through the camera, and she gags as the sight makes her want to throw up. One of the crawlers hears her, and she tries to stay still and quiet. But then someone begins to yell. It's Juno, who's a good distance away, but her voice is echoing through the cave. It gains their attention, and they crawl away. So I'm pretty sure those things are blind, which was probably obvious, but I didn't want to make assumptions, and then get one of those, actually, comments in my comment section. As Juno pulls out her lighter again, she notices an arrow drawn on the wall. This could indicate that someone did explore this cave before them, and this was maybe them marking the way out, which is good news for the girls, if they can make it out in one piece. Back with Rebecca and Sam, a crawler is in very close proximity to them. It makes wacky waving inflatable tube man noises and then skedaddles away. They both think they're in the clear, but Sam's wristwatch begins to go off, alerting the crawler. She smartly takes it off and throws it further away. Once again, Juno is yelling through this cave all willy-nilly like there's not cannibalistic humanoids crawling around this place. Sarah makes herself a torch like a boss that she is, and we finally see what's all around her. A cavern of death, bloody carcasses and bones of various animals and human beings. A sight for sore eyes, you might say. Sam and Rebecca are still moving forward when a crawler jumps out, and it starts attacking them. It's about to get Rebecca, but Juno to the rescue. She throws her climbing axe into its back and then proceeds to break its neck. Holy shit. Oh man, you don't deserve this moment. I'm sorry, but you don't get to act like a badass survivor like you're not the reason we're in this mess. Or like you didn't just leave your friend for dead after accidentally stabbing her in the neck. Speaking of which...
They took Holly. Beth's dead.
You want to tell them why she's dead? Juno? I think not. Sam being the medical student, Juno asks her exactly what they're dealing with. Well, we know they're completely blind, and Sam makes the safe assumption that they use sound to hunt, and they've completely evolved to moving around in complete darkness. Juno says whatever they are, they get their food from the surface, so there has to be an exit somewhere. If they can stay quiet and avoid them, wait for them to head to the surface and hunt, they might be able to find their way out. That old-ass climbing gear they found and those markings on the wall indicate whoever was down here marked their way out after their exploration. Sam's like, well, what are we waiting for? And Juno says,
Sarah. I'm not leaving without Sarah.
Oh bullshit, that's guilt talking, you homewrecker. Beth was the only real one looking out for Sarah. Speaking of which, we get yet another heartbreaking scene. As Sarah is navigating through the cave, Beth reaches her hand out and calls for her. She's still alive? Burly. Yes, my friends, Beth is still hanging on. Sarah tries to move her, but it's no use. She says she heard Juno calling out for her, so she's gonna go get some help. But Beth tells her that she's the one who did this to her, and to not trust her. She left her behind for dead. Sarah tries to pull her up again, but then a necklace slips into her hand. It's Juno's necklace that Beth ripped off her neck when she stabbed her. On the necklace is engraved, "Love each day." The same thing Sarah's late husband would say all the time. And this is when Sarah makes the revelation that I've been saying from the beginning, that Paul and Juno were having an affair. You don't say. Oh, yo. And to make the situation even sadder, Beth tells Sarah to put her out of her misery. Sarah says she can't bring herself to do such a thing, but Beth pleads for her. She begs her to do it. So Sarah tells her to close her eyes as she grabs a big rock and bashes her head in. R.I.P. Beth, and fuck Juno. In this moment, however, something awakens in Sarah. A youngling attacks her, she gets it off her back and she throws it to the ground, stomping it out, killing it. Just then, a female crawler comes out. The only one I think we've seen so far, but I'm sure there's more. She finds her youngling dead and screams in Sarah's direction, causing her to run. Sarah ends up falling into a pit of blood and various other things. It looks gross. Man, we go from extremely sad to extremely disgusting so fast in this movie. She stays under there for a minute, as to maybe throw off the crawler chasing her. She resurfaces, but it ends up grabbing her anyway. They tussle for a bit, and Sarah ends up grabbing a sharp tooth or bone. It's from an animal, I'm assuming, and she's able to stab her in the eye, killing her. She goes to grab her torch, but she ends up hearing another one coming. And this is actually one of my favorite moments in the movie. She lays completely still. At first I'm like, what is she doing? But I realize she's playing dead. Even with this gross goop that spews from these things' mouth landing on her, she still doesn't move. It crawls away and she grabs a bigger bone this time. As the crawler turns around to attack her, she mollywops it in the face and then bashes its skull in. She picks up her torch and then straight up starts aura farming. She just turned into the Bride meets Lara Croft in a matter of seconds. It's like after being forced to kill her best friend to put her out of her misery, all of a sudden enhanced every survival instinct she has. She looks up to the ceiling and screams, which cuts to the other three girls hearing a crawler scream. They move forward and Juno turns around when she hears something. She thinks it's Sarah, but in reality it's a huge group of crawlers. Everyone runs and Sam finds herself at another ledge and it's a long way down. She tries to maneuver across when Rebecca and Juno approach and tell her to come back. She doesn't listen and a crawler appears. She pulls out her knife and the crawler moves forward, clawing at Sam, until it eventually rips her throat out. In a last defense, Sam stabs the crawler, forcing it to fall down into the chasm, as she falls back dead. Rebecca crying out in pure emotional agony as she just watched her little sister die in front of her. Neil Marshall, the director, noted that Sam did this for her desire to be just like her older sister. Rebecca was always the one protecting her, putting herself in harm's way to keep her safe. So this was Sam's attempt at doing the same, trying to prove herself, which sadly leads to her death. There's like no time to process this as a crawler appears behind them and drags Rebecca back. It starts to eat her stomach, tearing at her flesh, as Rebecca screams in pain. Juno has no choice but to jump as she lands into some water below her. The crawler that Sam stabbed is down there and begins to attack her, but she finishes it off and swims to the surface. She starts to climb up and she's not doing too bad, but she loses her grip. As she's about to fall, she's pulled up by Sarah. She looks up to see Sam's dead body hanging up top. She asks if Rebecca made it and Juno shakes her head. Then Sarah asks Juno about Beth. I took this as her testing Juno, seeing if she was gonna lie to her, since Juno has no idea that Sarah knows what she did. All Juno can say is that she didn't make it. Yeah, she didn't make it alright, you sick fuck. Then Sarah asks her another question. Did you see her die? And Juno nods yes. You monster. You can tell in that moment that it took every ounce of Sarah's self-restraint to not kill Juno right then and there. The audacity you must have to look me straight in the eyes and lie about such a thing. Sarah's better than me because I would have started strangling her on the spot. They move forward and we get one of the most badass scenes in the entire movie. Sarah and Juno versus these three crawlers. When I tell you they put belt to ass, Sarah biting off a piece of one of them, Juno bashing one of their skulls into the wall, Sarah also proceeding to gouge its eyes out with her thumbs, and the last one gets an axe through the top of its head. Oh my god, that was awesome. And good news, it doesn't stop there, because Sarah picks up her axe and dangles a necklace from her hand, Juno's entire body tensing up, her mouth agape but nothing comes out. Crawlers cry out in the distance, causing Juno to look as Sarah stabs her through the leg, basically immobilizing her. Juno doesn't say anything as she continues to gasp in pain. Sarah then turns around, leaving her for dead. Juno takes the axe out of her leg as a last defense and she ends up getting eaten, her screams echoing through the cave. Also, this looks a little ridiculous, but like I said earlier, it's 2005, so I'll give this some grace. As Sarah moves forward, she falls down a little hole and falls unconscious for a sec. Her eyes jolt open and she can see sunlight. She crawls on top of the remains and finds her way to the surface. She made it out, being the sole survivor of this group. She makes her way out in a frantic state as she runs off to the van. She starts it up and she pulls off. She makes her way to the road and pulls off to the side as she breaks down crying. All of her emotions setting in at once, as it all finally hits her what the fuck just happened. All of her friends dead in a matter of 36 hours. She then gets jump scared by a big truck. She sticks her head out of the window to throw up. As she leans back into the car, there's a dead Juno sitting right next to her. She's bleeding from the eyes and Sarah screams and the movie cuts. And that, my friends, is not The Descent. Ha, you thought. See, there are two endings to this movie, a 30-second difference to be exact. So let's rewind. So same things happen, truck jump scare, blowing chunks, dead Juno. However, when she screams this time, she awakens back in the cave. She then sees a birthday cake and her dead daughter Jessica. She sits in front of her and smiles as the cake is replaced with her torch and her daughter disappears. And the camera zooms out as we hear the screams of crawlers and then the movie cuts to black. And that, my friends, is The Descent. Kinda, yeah. The first ending I said is the American ending. American audiences said the original ending was too sad, so they changed it to where Sarah just sees dead Juno and that's it. She still made it out, but she's haunted by the events that just occurred. The second ending is the international ending, the one that everyone else saw. Sarah is stuck in a hallucination with her daughter being with her as she remains trapped in the cave, while the crawlers begin to close in. The crazy part is that the American ending paved the way for the sequel, meaning it's technically canon, because Sarah does make an appearance in part 2. You see, the Americans were too much of a weenie to accept that sometimes shit doesn't pan out. Poor little Americans. else. So what are my thoughts? This movie was great. I really enjoyed this after so many years. I wanted to touch on the duality of Sarah and Juno, because earlier I said Juno's badass moments were not earned, at least in the moral sense. Juno's guilt was already weighing in on her, as she was pretty much the reason all of this happened. Her being selfish and wanting to get a thrill out of adventure, not really caring what the others think. Shit, not even telling them they were in the wrong cave until after they got trapped down there. And then the extra guilt of accidentally stabbing Beth in the neck and leaving her for dead. All of these emotions led to frustration with herself. She couldn't face what she did, so she ran away. The same way she ran away when Paul and Jessica died. That frustration turns into anger, therefore she starts to fight back. Where Sarah's is more justifiable. Finding one of her best friends bleeding out, and then said best friend tells her that her other best friend was the one who did this, and just left her behind. And also discovering that said best friend was sleeping with her husband before he died. And the shitty cherry on top being that she had to kill Beth to put her out of her misery. This awakened something in her. Pure rage. Her family's dead. One of her best friends stabbed her in the back metaphorically while also stabbing Beth in the neck literally. And she has to find this out from Beth while she's bleeding out in front of her, knocking on Death's door. I'd be pissed too. I'd be absolutely livid. Now, as far as which ending I prefer, I like both actually. While my frustrations of American audiences whining about an ending being too sad doesn't bode too well, I'd be a hypocrite if I said I didn't do the same. That was literally one of my critiques with Sinister and its ending. So I understand. The international ending to me is more realistic. I mean, think about it. You're lost in a cave system you've never been to and that has no name. All your friends are dead. No one knows you're down here. And there are carnivorous mutant humans crawling all over the place. Yeah, it's not too surprising if Sarah doesn't make it out of this. Have you seen The Descent? If so, let me know what you thought of it down in the comments below. If not, give it a watch. It can be gross at times, but man, does it have style and emotion behind it. Some moments really tug at your heartstrings, and some of it is just badassery at its finest. I'm really happy I revisited this one after so many years. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure to like and subscribe. Become a member if you want my videos a day early, custom badges and emojis, a members only video once a month, and shoutouts. It's not required, but if you do, I greatly appreciate it. My name is Greaves, and as always, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace. Shout out to BrainRotBot MK1, Bailey4595, it's Day, Osmosius, I think that's how you pronounce that, Shock1017, Kimiko689, Quincy Kashaw 1630, Schnockster, Zebra Fincharts 449, I'm dyslexic, so I'm just gonna say Kimaya, Solemnly Doc, Willie or Wiley Desert Fox, Sebster 987, Solus Cook 3078, Kskin X, Preston Go Crazy 1626, and Kitty Beans for being my most recent members. I appreciate you for real. Alright, see you guys later.